Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Metcalf, and I watch the film so you don't have to. On this video, we're going to take a look at Baylor freshman VJ Edgecombe. Edgecombe is rightfully so one of the top athletes and overall prospects in the 2025 NBA draft, but he has a major red flag that may not be what you're thinking of at first. It's not his shooting, but it's actually his at rim finishing. Edgecombe can get to the rim whenever he wants because he is that freak athlete, but actually finishing those plays and scoring this year was a totally different story and a major issue. On the year, Edgecombe took 44.4% of his shots at the rim and ranked in just the 36th percentile in scoring. On layups overall, he shot just 44.5% and 44.2% on layups in the half court. First glance, not great, but let's see how they compare to some of his peers in Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, two guys who Castle last year, one of the top guards in last year's draft, and Dylan Harper, who will likely be the first guard off the board in this year's draft. So Castle in his lone year at UConn, 54.1% of his shots came at the rim, and he ranked in the 68th percentile in scoring. On layups overall, he shot 55.2% and 54.2% on layups in the half court. Harper took 44% of his shots at the rim and ranked in the 86th percentile in scoring. On layups, he shot 65.1% overall and 62.7% in the half court. Those are drastically more impressive and more efficient and more reliable than Edgecombe's numbers. And especially with Harper, it's not like he was dealing with tremendously better spacing or team context than Edgecombe was this year. So, how worried should we be about Edgecombe's at rim finishing? Let's take a look at the film, see what the issue is, see if it's fixable, and show why his rim pressure is so important. Welcome to film school. Let's dive in. Let's start with some of the bad and try and figure out what went wrong with VJ. There's plenty of good that we'll get into later, but he's far too good of a player to be shooting 44% on layups throughout the entire year. Now, the main theme that consistently showed up with VJ throughout the year was that he frequently went into drives almost without a plan. He felt like a player who's always been able to win with his athleticism, and now that that's not always the case, things got a little messy. The finishing angles were rough. The finishing craft wasn't as consistent. There were flashes of really good footwork like we just saw there, but that consistency and dominance wasn't there like it should have been. And with how athletic VJ is, especially with NBA spacing, he should be getting to the rim all the time. So on this one, high pick and roll does a nice little job of implementing a little hesitation to try and toy with his defender, the drop defender, and that kind of stuff with VJ. It was a little inconsistent throughout the year, but it got better, which was really, really encouraging. So this little hesitation right here, he's trying to send the help defender here away, but they don't do anything. And instead of putting his defender in jail or snaking through the lane or something with a bit of craft, he just barrels straight into the defense here. And that's a tough shot for anyone. I don't expect him to finish through this. This is more of a case of him predetermining that he's going to drive. As he comes off the screen, he sees all of the space. It's really tantalizing for an athlete of his caliber to just explode into and take it. And in the past, in high school, this is a situation where he was able to score the vast majority of the time. It's a really easy bucket for him to get. But now when you're going up against JT Toppin and upperclassmen and guys of NBA caliber defense, it's a different story. There isn't any craft here. He just barrels straight into the defender, gets met with really good verticality, really good physicality, and he doesn't have the strength or the craft or finishing touch here to finish through it. On this one against Kansas State, again, he just straight line drive, tries to beat his defender with pure speed on the catch, rip, but he's never able to turn the corner. And when we look at his takeoff here, and he's taking off way outside of where you would want to be taking off. I mean, he's outside the lane here. Momentum going way out of bounds. He's way out of control. Defenders in his grill really good defense, keeping him out of the lane here, getting a strong contest. And again, that's a really tough finish for anyone, but this is really similar to the previous play, that this is predetermined. Vijay's like, all right, I'm faster, I'm more athletic, I'm going to beat this guy, but he can't. He doesn't turn the corner on him, and he's stuck taking a really bad off-balance runner that's heavily contested. Pushing in early offense here against Houston, really similar thing. Emmanuel Sharp he's a smaller player, but he's a really good defender and really strong. And this is almost almost a mirror of the previous play, where he's pushing early transition. He sees Norchad Omier, getting that early position, and I'd like that entry pass to just be made instead, as Milo Suzan is trying to body Omier in the post here. But Vijay sees that and sees that as a pseudo screen, and is convinced that he has the athleticism and speed here to beat Sharp to the rim. Sharp does a good job forcing him outside, taking that wide drive, doesn't allow him to turn the corner. And again, we look at his takeoff spot, and he has yet to get a paint touch. He's still not getting in the lane and is stuck taking a bad runner because he doesn't have a left hand really yet. He does a good job of securing it it's only like one dribble here on the drive, but his left hand is tough, secures it through the contact, but since he doesn't have a left here, he can't extend with that outside hand for the better finishing angle, and instead has to switch it back to his right. And by the time he's releasing this, his eyes are almost behind the backboard, and there's no chance of making that. Good shot fake, and just completely thrown off. So this is the kind of stuff. I buy Vijay's shot in the long run. There were some months and stretches throughout the year where he was really good. He was an incredible shooter with the Bahamas over the summer during Olympic qualifying, and the importance of it is for him to, and the reason why that's so important outside of just being a good shooter, is that it draws these long closeouts where now he can utilize that athleticism to attack downhill. Now, someone with Vijay's athleticism, help rotation here, this should be a bucket, or at least a really good look, and unfortunately, he doesn't end up with either. As he attacks downhill, again, why is he taking off this early? This is a play where in high school, he's used to just going through a smaller defender, and that's not the case here. He rushes it. He's predetermined. Why not hit him with, hit him with a little Euro step? Either plant the right and go left, or plant the left and go right, or just snake it through to the other side and attack the defender's momentum. But instead, Vijay's processing in his brain and his decision making are running at 1,000,000 miles an hour in this situation, and he takes off from here. That's a horrible, horrible takeoff spot, and he's expecting contact. He's not dictating things. He's letting the defense dictate what he does. He expects contact here. Defender does a really good job of not fouling, and now we have another out-of-control, wild shot attempt that he has no chance of making. Similar thing. Just can't turn the corner. There's not a whole lot of craft here. He's rushing it, and you still got 10 seconds left on the clock by the time he gets the ball here, and defender does a good job of just staying attached. Don't force it. Don't gamble, because you don't need to. Stay attached. Force him wide. At least this time, Vijay's taking off inside the paint, but that's another really tough angle. He never really has the ball secured, and he forces it. There's a really good kick out there to Robert Wright, but he kind of fumbles the ball through the contact here, doesn't have the strength to finish through the contact, rushes it, tough shot. I mean, again, this is minimal physicality that he shouldn't be having an issue with. Now, the optimistic view is that, one, maybe that should be a foul. College refs, what are you going to do about it? Two, in a couple years when he does get stronger, that kind of contact's not going to affect him. But as he comes through here, what is he hop-stepping into? It's not like this is a major defensive rotation where he's really countering a ton of momentum, and he's just kind of going. He's already determined that he's going to try and get back to the right here, which I don't mind, but I would a little bit of craft in terms of a hesitation. Fake like you're going to go up for a shot, then cross over, go between your legs, and then snake back to the right. Something a little more creative than just trying to power through it, jump stop through, defender stays attached, verticality, no foul. And again, release angle way out here. He's out of control, struggling to deal with the contact. It's tough. Good drive, but again, no left hand. Common theme, a lot of VJ's turnovers this year were him driving to his left and just fumbling it with his left. Here he drives downhill, does a good job of securing it before the contact with his initial defender comes, before the dig from Darian Williams comes, and I really like how he elongates his strides here. Does a good job, maybe another half dribble, or maybe another dribble here, short, figure out his stride length a little better. He's starting this a little too far away. If he could start that half a step closer, obviously ideal. But I like where he picks up, really elongates that stride to get through the defense. And this is nice. So far, so good. But since he doesn't have a left hand here that he can extend with, he has to switch it back to his right, shoot against his momentum instead of going with his momentum. And again, the eyes are in a totally different spot than where his release is, and he can't get it there. Now, this one is the most encouraging because this is the most craft he's shown in this series of clips. And there are examples coming up here where he finishes looks like this. And this is the encouraging part. He doesn't get the score here, but this leads us into the encouraging stuff and how it can look when things are going right for him. So a nice bit of craft in manipulating the defender's momentum, multiple crossovers, gets the defender to flip his hips a couple times here, gets him off balance. He's retreating and does I love this spin move. This spin move is perfect. Against the defender's momentum, extension, keeps it away from him. He's just a little bit out of control, can't quite finish it, but that's something where in a couple years, that's the type of move that he can reliably knock down. We just didn't see it nearly enough this year. All right, so as I alluded to in that last clip, there still was a lot of really fun and encouraging flashes in terms of Edgecombe's rim pressure and at-rim finishing. Now, it wasn't always great, and the results weren't always there, as we've established, but there are a lot of signs of, when this is going right, when he slows his brain down a little bit and isn't so predetermined and can really utilize his athleticism, his rim pressure and at-rim finishing can be a real problem, especially as an off-ball guy attacking rotating defenses and defensive rotations and long closeouts, because he has a ton of really fun scoring upside. He's just got to slow the brain down a little bit, develop a little more physically in terms of strength, and it could be a major weapon for him. So let's take a look at these and see why they're so different than that previous batch that he really struggled with. So here, good little DHO, little brush screen. Omer just ghosts it. And Edgecombe attacks downhill. So what we saw a lot in those previous clips was on drives like these, he would just let the defender basically usher him wide. Here, though, we see him plant that left foot there and then initiate this contact. Instead of taking that arc around and avoiding the contact, he's going A to B and initiating the contact, imposing himself on the defender, and that stuff that will come. Obviously, this defender's a little smaller than him, but as he gets stronger and a little more physically developed, that's stuff that should come as he just gets older and with more experience in physical development. But I love the angle that he takes here. Really good bend, gets really low, initiates that contact, stays under control, off 2 feet. He's not out of control like in those previous clips. Goes up. Hey, and look at that, finishing with the left hand. We love to see it. On this one, just operating at the top of the arc and little jab step and go. Now, this, I love this one because it implements a bit of his athleticism, that first step of, and then craft and finishing creativity, and slow processing speed as well. So right there, just a little rocker step, just there's some sort of communication here, likely with the defense that a screen might be coming, little jab step, boop, and he's gone. And from here, he knows that he has this entire lane and he's good to go. As he gets there, though, what we saw in previous clips was, all right, he's just taken off. He doesn't care. He's just going to the rim and he's about to elevate. The defense is preparing for that, and instead, VJ secures high against the dig, plants that left foot, and look at how far he stretches this step. That's a really, really good job of eating up space with his step, getting that help defender. As the ball goes up, so is the rim protector. Rim protector leaves his feet. Instead of jumping straight into him, VJ's brain is working slow here. He's manipulating the defense more than he was in those previous clips. Steps through, improves his finishing angle, gets rid of two defenders, and finishes on the other side. That's really, really fun and a great blend of what we can hope his rim pressure and at rim scoring grow into, where he utilizes that athleticism into a bit of finishing craft as well. Here, going up against Chaz Lanier in Tennessee, this is just pure athleticism. This is speed. This is stuff that he wasn't always able to succeed at, but when it works, it's incredibly fun and incredibly effective, because he can get from point A to point B real quick, does a really good job of attacking Omier, who establishes post-up. Omier does a great job of clearing out the rim protector. Explodes, inside scoop finish. Easy enough. Going up against Houston yet again, and this one I just love the patience. He doesn't force it. He deals with the defense. He doesn't rush the process here. So he gets blitzed here, backs out a little bit, and then the second that Tugler initially blitzes him, VJ does a good job of just killing his dribble, or hesitating, not forcing it, just waiting to see what they do. The second that Tugler turns to recover, now VJ's going to fill that space. As he drives, Milos Uzan has more space to recover back, and VJ does a nice little job of peeking at Omier here, which gets Uzan up a little bit, and now VJ's just able to use his speed and athleticism to beat Uzan to the block. Does a really good job of killing his momentum, or controlling his momentum with that right foot plant. He's going to plant that right foot to control his body and slow his ascent, slow his leap off the ground to avoid this late rotation by Sharp, and finish with the left hand to protect it from Tugler or Uzan recovering from the middle. Again, Houston's playing him at the level here. Little jab step, gets Sharp biting on it, and now Omier's positioning allows VJ to split this, and now he has a huge lane to attack. And now this is something that was a bit of an issue in those previous clips, where he's taking off from an obscene distance from the rim. Most players shouldn't be doing this. We saw how it goes bad, but why this one works, first off, VJ's not like most athletes. He's an incredible athlete, so he's able to get away with this a little more frequently. But the reason this works is that these rotating defenders are a step late, and VJ's able to get off the floor and elevate before they are. Whereas in the previous ones, VJ was jumping from the same distance into rim protectors who were ready for him. Now, Uzan isn't going to contest him really. I believe that's Roberts below, who's rotating as his man cuts from the opposite side, and VJ's able to elevate before either of them even can think about it because he's so far away. Does a really good job of avoiding the contact, splitting them, and then finishing despite, and that's absurd, and then finishing the playoff. Another high pick and roll. bit of craft, a little better use of the left hand yet again. Be nice if he finished with it, but he's having to adjust here. I get it. Not a big issue. But like some of those previous Houston pick and rolls, just a nice little bit of craft, a little bit of patience, and ability to attack downhill to the left. It's there. He's just got to get a little more consistent, a little more reliable at it, but comes off the screen, a little hesitation, and now it's, all right, big man's going to get hung up on the second screen here a little bit, so look at all that space. Three's not going to do anything. He knows that three's not going to do anything in terms of protecting the rim here. Let's attack downhill. Elevate again, really far away, but when you have a late rotation by a smaller defender, it's okay, because worst case scenario, you're probably just going to draw a foul. Best case, you get an and one. Okay case, you get a layup. Now we see him spotted up in the corner here, and again, this is where the ability to draw those long closeouts is so crucial, and that's where the shot development is going to come. Really good use of shot fake, gets downhill, a lot of space to attack here, finishes through the contact. Probably could have been a little bit of a foul here, but I mean, again, look at how far away he's taking off, and again, it's taking off this far away is okay when the help rotations are half a step late or more late. The rim protector's occupied with Omier. Help rotation is late. Doing that in these situations works. A little bit of contact. Could have been a foul, but that decisiveness and doing it in situations where he still has this runway makes a lot of sense and can be incredibly useful. Now, while scoring and improving that scoring efficiency is obviously the main goal for VJ and his rim pressure, another really important way that he can impact the offense and improve and raise his offensive ceiling is through his playmaking out of these situations. And it's something we saw him get better at game by game throughout the year, and that he's improved a lot on throughout his career and developmental curve so far. Now, really important to note, he's not a primary guy. He's not a primary offensive initiator, at least not yet. Who knows in the future? You never want to rule something out. But in terms of right now, as a true shooting guard, as a true off-ball guard, his ability to attack closeouts, DHOs, run second-side pick and rolls, attack and manipulate rotating defenses, and create those mismatches and numbers opportunities, adding in more and more and more playmaking is just going to make him even more deadly as that off-ball guard and off-ball creator and slasher. So right here, again, I talked about it a lot already. The importance of the shot to draw those long closeouts. Again, he does it here. Defender gives up middle. He drives, forces the help rotation here, and really good job. Just decisive, plants that left foot to avoid the passing crash, splits the defenders right on the money, away from where the rotating defender can get to it. Easy dunk. Here we see him working off ball. Nice little jab step, go back the other way, run off this floppy screen. And again, we're getting that long closeout. Really fun off-ball movement here from the start. Lulls him to sleep, change of pace, boom. Plant that right foot, explode. He identifies the defender going over, so he sinks down into the corner. Shot fake, draws the long closeout, attacks against his momentum. Tough look for Cannon Catchings here. And now, again, just doesn't rush it. When he's patient and really breaks down what the defense is doing, which should continue to improve with experience and time, he's so deadly when he gets downhill. Does a really good job, a little hesitation, secures it through the help dig, attacks this space, engages the rim protector, elevates from really far away, but he's under control and he's not forcing it, gets the defender, the rim protector, off his feet, gets him totally committed, doesn't force a bad shot, dumps it off to Omier. Easy bucket. Here again, we see him in an off-ball roll, that change of pace, explode off the down screen, curl middle because he feels his defender. The difference in this one, he doesn't lose, I believe that's Walton, but he doesn't lose his defender like he did in that previous clip. So as he comes off the screen, he knows his defenders chasing him tight. So instead of sinking out or flaring out to the 3-point line, he's going to curl middle here, which takes his defender out of the play because he's chasing him. And now Omir's defender has to step up into the middle of the floor to make sure that VJ doesn't get an easy paint touch, easy drive to the front of the rim. So now, by curling middle off that screen, VJ's attracted the attention of two defenders, doesn't force it, recognizes it, looks at the opposite corner here to send the weak side defender the other way to make the window even bigger for a lob to Omir, tosses it up, easy dunk. This is incredibly valuable stuff. And again, gets it, ball swings to him, catch and rip, gets that early screen against the zone, and now he's downhill. Now he's in the middle of the zone. He's collapsing it, elongates those strides again. We saw him elongate those strides and engage defenders in ways that allowed him to finish at the rim before, but now he's doing it where he gets that defender off his feet. He knows that, for starters, he takes off and he picks up his dribble way too far away. So that's a problem. Needs to clean that up, and that should have been a sign from go here for the defender that he's probably not going to shoot this, but one step, two steps, little head fake, gets the defender off his feet. Instead of forcing a bad shot through a prepared rim protector with the defender right on his back, he just shovels it to his teammate. Another easy dunk. Common theme here. High pick and roll, gets downhill, bit of craft, a little bit of patience, hesitation, freezes the drop defender and gives his teammate a second to recover. Now, if VJ just goes here, he's in a one-on-one situation. There's no real advantage. Maybe he could walk into a little mid-range pull-up, not really his game. If he just explodes to the rim, maybe he draws a foul, but odds are he's going to be taking a really tough shot. Instead, little hesitation allows his teammate the half step to a step that he needs, where now once VJ attacks downhill, it's a 2v1 situation. They're going together. He's not going alone. All three of the weak side defenders are engaged on the opposite side. They have responsibility, so they can't overly help. VJ uses a little shot fake, gets the rim protector in the air, and the second he takes off here, it's way too far away, yet again, but he knows that once he takes off, he's doing it solely with the intention of setting up his roller because he knows there's no weak side defender or strong side defender coming from that corner. So he's just trying to get this defender in the air. Great job of changing the release point, shoveling it to his teammate. Easy dunk. Second side pick and roll. Really, really good patience. This is the kind of stuff that we didn't see consistently enough. It got better as the year went on, but this is perfect. As a second side creator, run that pick and roll. Nothing there. All right, cool. Let's reset. Going back middle. Resets. Now he's gained that second screen at the elbow and has all this space to attack downhill. When he came off that first screen, defender's able to go under. Nothing there. Cool. Reset. Patient. Now we have all this space to attack down into. Now he's in the middle of the lane with all three defenders, all five defenders actually, but all three important and engaged defenders with their eyes directly on him. A little shot fake, gets two of them in the air, forces one to initiate a box out on Omir. Nothing there for VJ. Unselfish play, shovels it to his teammate. Defenders are nowhere to be seen. Another easy bucket. So the scoring is really crucial for VJ to improve on, but while that will help his scoring abilities and his scoring efficiencies and his numbers, it also makes the defense play him way more honestly and allows him to toy with them and set up his teammates in a lot of really fun and efficient ways. Now, I want to wrap it up with this play because it encapsulates everything. The off-ball creation, to the rim pressure, to the playmaking, to the relocation, just really incredible process. I know he doesn't get the shot to fall here, but I absolutely love this all-around impact play from him. So little off-ball movement, relocates, ball at the top of the arc, and just explode. Downhill, go. Does a really good job of keeping that driving line skinny, so he's not forced too far out, and draws the second rotation. He knows that this guy, that 4, came from the weak side corner and that his teammate's going to be wide open since defender here, defender here. He's mapped the court really, really well here. Elevates and then whips a really accurate pass with his offhand across court. You know, if there's a better shooter there, NBA shooter, that's probably going up. Maybe he's getting an assist here, but whatever. Shot doesn't go up. Ball swings back. And I love how quickly he immediately goes into scoring and relocation mode. He doesn't hesitate. Hand immediately goes up. He knows that as he goes to relocate here in the corner, 12 is going to lift up to 3, and these 2 defenders are occupied in the post. So his hand goes up early. He knows the ball's swinging for him. I believe that's Cam Matthews. Gets a late contest, decent closeout here. Shot goes up. I know it doesn't go in. It'd be great if it went in, but from start to finish on this play, just really, really good process and example of how VJ can string together all of his tools in terms of rim pressure, playmaking, and off-ball scoring to be a really impactful and dynamic off-ball guard. So where does that leave us? We established VJ Edgecombe's at-rim finishing numbers are bad. They're unacceptable for a top 5 pick and a player of his caliber. He's far too good of a player and an athlete for that to be who he is as an at-rim scorer. It could be a major weapon in his arsenal. He should be getting to the rim at will, especially with NBA spacing. And if he's shooting 44% at the rim on layups, it's going to be a really concerning sign for how his scoring game is going to develop. But as we saw, there are a lot of signs for encouragement. When he slows the game down and with experience, there's a lot of craft and a lot of patience and a lot of versatility in his finishing. When he doesn't just go and he doesn't attack recklessly, he's able to dissect the defense, implement craft with power and speed and explosiveness to be a really dynamic and versatile and impactful at-rim scorer. And on top of that, he's able to leverage his rim pressure to create for others, whether it's kicking out to shooters or manipulating rim protectors to leave their feet early to try and challenge him at the rim, and he'll just dump it off for his teammate for an easy dunk. VJ Edgecombe is an elite rim pressurer. He can get there whenever he wants, and there are so many flashes of absolute brilliance. But if the scoring and the finishing doesn't improve, it likely, unfortunately, won't matter.